Alright, we're on to another part of this swap. Before this engine and transmission goes in, you need to go ahead and pull this starter off, and we'll go ahead and replace it. And I'm also going to go ahead and do a clutch in it, so I'm going to go ahead and get to working on taking that starter out and taking the transmission off, and go ahead and swap the clutch out. One of the problems this combination had before pulling it out of the donor Jeep was the clutch was not working. Upon taking it apart, found that the slave cylinder was broke, or not the slave cylinder, the throwout bearing was broken, and that the pilot bearing had actually come apart in it, and whoever had done the clutch in this previously had installed the pilot bearing backwards. That's why I ended up having to cut the collar off before I put the new pilot bearing in. So that's just for whoever's curious to know why in the world I was grinding at the back of the crankshaft. put back in. This is the 6-cylinder that's now going in here. I've already cut the motor mounts off the frame that were too far back for the 4-cylinder. Tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and remove the motor mounts off of the donor frame so I can bolt them up to the motor mounts here, set it down to the frame, go ahead and tack the motor mounts into place where they're supposed to be on the frame. Then I'll jack the motor back up and go ahead and weld them all the way into the frame. Finished with the clutch, putting the clutch in. I went ahead and repaired his exhaust manifold where it was broken at the flange. What I have left then is changing the harness over that runs along the firewall here. Then the motor mounts, a couple of things for the emissions that need to be changed over. Then putting the rest of the front end back together on it, putting it all back in. Then should be ready to fire up. Gonna guess a day, maybe 2, before it's ready to fire up and start running.